The woman who needs absolutely nothing becomes the very thing every heart aches for. The woman who never runs after anything becomes the one everything runs after. In the grand theater of human longing, there exists a strange, almost maddening truth. So counterintuitive, it sounds like poetic delusion, yet so precise that ancient philosophers whispered it behind temple columns. Modern scientists now dissect it in sterile labs with cold instruments and measured logic. While 9 women throw themselves at his feet like brittle leaves in a furious autumn gust, the 10th, silent, steady, unmoving, stands like a mountain. And then something impossible begins to unfold. Gravity itself seems to lean toward her. This isn't recycled fluff from someone who's never tasted the burn of raw desire. This is the distilled fire of centuries. From the honeyed candlelit chambers of Cleopatra to the fierce ink strokes in Simone de Beauvoir's notebooks, this truth has been preserved, layered, decoded, and now delivered to you through the lens of hard-earned neuroscience with surgical clarity. If you value stories that reveal power beneath stillness, consider subscribing so you never miss the ones that choose truth over noise. What you're about to hear will either liberate you beyond recognition or shake your foundation so violently you'll wish you could forget. Because once you understand why the woman willing to walk away is the only one who ever truly stays, there is no going back. You can never unlearn it. There exists a psychological strategy so potent, so quietly dominant, that it makes even a man flooded with endless options stop seeing them entirely, and instead see only you. And no, it's not what you think. It's not what you've been told. And it's certainly not what the rest of the crowd is doing. This strategy has a name. It's called the principle of inverted power. The illusion of attraction and the first truth. But before I tell you exactly what that means, you need to understand why everything you've been taught about attraction has been backward from the start. In today's dating world, we're drowning in a cruel illusion that more effort brings more reward, that being readily available is somehow magnetic, that striving for perfection makes you irresistible. And here's the truth that will sting every time you try to win his attention. You've already lost. Do you know what really happens when you're the fastest to respond? You become the one who's always available. When you shower him with compliments before he's even earned them, you transform into just another admirer number 11 in line. When you aim for flawless perfection, you become nothing more than predictable. And predictable is the beginning of invisible. The great strategists have always said it clearly: better to be respected than merely desired, but never, ever ignored. In the ruthless theater of attraction, predictability is the kiss of death. Every hey handsome, every needy emoji, every desperate gesture, all of it pushes you into the same tired category. He becomes the employer, sifting through resumes, and you, just another name in the stack, pleading for an interview. This dynamic is fatal to your value because it reduces you to a replaceable option instead of a woman who defines her own worth. Here's the most devastating part. When you compete on his terrain, you've already agreed to let him set the terms. That means he holds the power, not because he took it, but because you handed it to him. Reclaiming position in the game of desire. The greatest mistake women make in this game is believing that giving more automatically makes them worth more. Being more available, being more accommodating, giving more of yourself. But reality is brutal. What's obtained without effort is appreciated the least, and what's undervalued is always the first to be discarded. Now here's where everything changes. While they scramble to win his gaze, you observe. While they chase, you create. While they beg for attention, you generate something infinitely more rare. Genuine curiosity. Because the woman who truly understands the rules of the game knows better than to play by someone else's. If you're still here, still listening, it's not an accident. You already sense that what's being said cuts deeper than empty mantras like just be confident or be yourself. You stayed because you know the difference between empty noise and real, grounded strategy. And that difference, it doesn't just set you apart. It puts you in a whole different league. The line between being chosen and being cast aside isn't drawn by how better you are than someone else. It's drawn by whether you make him feel something he didn't even know he was starving for. Emotional anchoring and the male memory. The difference isn't about being better than the others. It's about creating a feeling in him that the other 9 don't even know how to trigger. And that, sister, takes a deeper understanding of the masculine mind, the kind of insight the great strategists would have celebrated. Men don't operate the way we've been told. While we process emotion through words and feeling, they process primarily through visuals and lived experiences. While we forge connection through heartfelt conversations, they build it through shared experiences and mutual respect, the sensation that none of the others can replicate. It has a name in psychology: emotional anchoring. And here's the core truth the masters of persuasion have always known. The goal is not to be perfect. The real power is in being completely unforgettable. Ever wonder why he remembers the ex who constantly challenged him more than the one who worshipped him like royalty? It's actually very simple. It's about emotional intensity. The masculine brain doesn't store bland, neutral moments. It stores what made him feel something, what sparked his primal instinct to pursue, to conquer. Moments that made him feel fully alive are the ones that remain. While the other 9 try to fit into the mold of the perfect, predictable girlfriend, you become the experience he finds himself unable to shake. The real difference. A woman who doesn't need to prove anything but tread carefully. This isn't about playing games or creating chaos. This isn't about toxic drama or emotional manipulation. It's about a depth, a real rich psychological depth that sets you apart in a way few understand. The difference is subtle, yet absolutely devastating. When the others tell him, "You're incredible," you say, "There's something about the way you think that fascinates me more than it should." When they ask, "So, when are we seeing each other?" You've built a life so full and fulfilling that he has to earn a spot in it. This isn't just a surface-level tactic. It's not technical. It's philosophical. You're engaging with him not out of emotional hunger, but out of a genuine curiosity toward who he is as a human being. He senses that instantly, because it's rare, almost unheard of, for someone to actually see him rather than just need him. Men are constantly surrounded by women who require them to feel whole. So when you arrive, complete and sovereign, wanting him but not needing him, you shake the entire framework of his expectations. He doesn't know where to place you, because you don't resemble anything he's ever encountered before. And that's the strategy. Create sincere admiration, not emotional dependency. The others flood him with nonstop attention, thinking that's what builds attachment. But that's a fatal misunderstanding. Real masculine attachment forms when he senses deeply that you've chosen him not for what he gives you, but for who he truly is. The great thinkers always said it. Men judge more by the eyes than by the hands. In seduction, this translates into something powerful. He'll evaluate you not by what you do for him, but by how you make him feel about himself. Constant texts, total availability, over-the-top admiration. That's all hands. But when you make him feel seen for his achievements, respected for his decisions, intellectually challenged, that's eyes. And in this game of lasting attraction, eyes always win. The masculine mind is wired to seek conquest and challenge. When you offer everything too soon, without requiring him to earn it, you rob him of the very thing that brings emotional value effort. It's like handing someone the championship trophy before the match. It's meaningless, empty. Men treasure what they must strive for, what they sweat for, what they earn. Now let's be clear. Real scarcity doesn't mean pretending to be unavailable. It means truly being selective. It's not about being difficult for sport. It's about knowing your standards and never compromising them. When he senses that your time is limited, but meaningful, that your attention is rare, but deeply rewarding, your presence becomes magnetic. He won't be able to get that feeling from just anyone. It's rare. It's high value. It lingers. While the other 9 compete for slots in his calendar, you take up space in his mind consistently and powerfully. Because the man with endless options isn't looking for more admirers. He's craving the one woman who understands his inner world even better than he understands it himself. And that kind of presence, it demands more than surface-level tips or temporary tricks. It takes real internal development. To truly occupy that kind of mental space, you need a strength most will never cultivate: authentic emotional power. The 3 pillars of unshakable attraction. And here's the blunt truth. Emotional neediness reeks of fear, and men can smell desperation, like blood in the water, even from miles away. Want to know the difference between a powerful woman and a needy one? The powerful woman pauses, evaluates, and chooses her responses deliberately. The needy one reacts impulsively, out of fear. The needy woman reacts on impulse. When he takes his time to reply, the other 9 panic. They send double messages. They apologize for things they never did. They create drama that didn't need to exist. But you continue living your life because you understand something foundational. Your value does not hinge on his response. Your emotional stability isn't tied to how he treats you. This kind of independence, emotional and unshaken, is rare today. And its rarity alone makes you unforgettable. Men are wired to be hunters. When a woman chases them, it disrupts their programming. Suddenly, they become the prey. And prey doesn't chase, it runs. But when you hold your power, you allow him to step into his role as the pursuer. That's what fuels his masculine fire. It's what makes him feel fully alive. The great strategists were clear. It is far better to be rejected for who you truly are than accepted for wearing a mask. In attraction, this becomes revolutionary. It's better that he walk away from your truth than stay for your performance. Why? Because performance fades, but authenticity that commands respect. And respect is the root of any connection that lasts beyond surface appeal. When you act only to impress, you create an illusion you cannot maintain forever. Authenticity doesn't mean being harsh or unfiltered. It means staying rooted in your values, being crystal clear in your boundaries, and honoring your core, while still preserving the elegance and mystery that keep masculine attraction burning. Meid why he made saint. Now, let's talk strategy, real strategy. Selective availability is non-negotiable. It's not that you're pretending to be unavailable. It's that your time is already filled with meaning. You don't play hard to get. You are hard to get Because your life matters. More than any fleeting validation. Your responses are never impulsive. They're deliberate. While others reply from an emotional knee-jerk, you take a moment to breathe, to reflect. You respond from clarity, not chaos. Every word you send has purpose. Every exchange adds depth. This isn't random chatter. It's intentional dialogue. Emotional independence is your next pillar. You don't swing with his mood. You don't light up only when he pays attention. You're emotionally grounded, which makes you even more captivating. He sees it, that you don't need his approval to feel whole. You have your world, your circle of friends, your passions, your goals, your hobbies. A life so rich that being part of it becomes a privilege. He doesn't see a woman rearranging her world for a date. He sees a woman who may need to rearrange her schedule because it's already full of things that matter. Then come the standards. Your boundaries are not up for discussion. Not because you're difficult, but because you're clear on what kind of energy belongs in your life. These standards aren't born of arrogance. They rise from self-respect. Now here's the most devastating truth of all, the ultimate power move. Create a genuine fear of loss, not through games, not through manipulation, but by truly being someone who is willing to walk away. The other 9 cling for dear life, terrified of losing him. You radiate magnetism because you're not afraid to lose yourself. Masculine psychology operates on a primal level. He fears what he can't fully possess. Predictability gives him control. But your authenticity and independence, he can't control that. And that uncertainty, it sets off an emotional adrenaline rush he can't ignore. Men are wired for competition. When he sees other men value you, that instinct activates. This doesn't mean being unfaithful. It's not about playing games. It's about preserving your social glow, your innate attractiveness without handing yourself over like a prize he hasn't earned. And no, this isn't manipulation. It's integrity. It's what happens when your happiness doesn't rely on anyone else. This mindset holds weight because it's authentic, not performative, not calculated. Power, authenticity, selective scarcity. These are the 3 pillars. The power of being willing to walk away, but few understand the final paradox, the truth that draws the sharpest line between those who are kept and those who are forgotten. Here it is, the woman willing to walk away is the only one who ever truly stays. The great strategists knew it, and now so do you. While the others dig in with desperation, begging for one more moment, you develop a deeper strength, the unshakable ability to walk away, not as a game, not as a threat, but as a decision made in full clarity that you will never value someone else more than you value yourself. And that's exactly why it works, because it violates everything he expects. He's used to women getting louder when he goes quiet, clinging when he grows cold, chasing harder when he pulls away. But you let him go, and more importantly, you choose to stay with yourself. That behavior stuns him. It reclassifies you instantly. He's used to being the prize. But now, for the first time, he meets a woman who sees herself as the prize too. And that equality, that balance, it entrances him. You're not another hopeful admirer. You're a woman who could walk away and choose differently if he doesn't rise to meet your level. Living as if you're already whole. So how does this look in action? When he cancels plans, you don't scramble to reschedule. When he leaves you on read, you don't chase him with double messages. When his interest cools, you don't turn up the heat. You step back. You live your life as it was meant to be lived. Full, whole, complete. Because it is. Your joy, your purpose, your identity as a woman doesn't hinge on any man's attention. And here's the line that defines everything: I only invest my energy in people who invest equally in me. If that balance shifts, I step aside without drama, just with clarity. It's not a warning. It's not a manipulation tactic. It's a principle. It's self-respect embodied, and the psychological impact, it's nuclear. When he realizes he could actually lose you, his primal brain sets off every alarm. His FOMO, fear of missing out, explodes. The fear of missing out, the fear of losing something truly rare and irreplaceable, becomes more powerful than any option sitting on his phone. Because options, those are everywhere. They overflow at the tap of a screen. But women with genuine self-respect, they are astonishingly rare. In a world overflowing with women starving for male attention, the one who values herself naturally rises above the noise. Men have a radar, a sixth sense that picks up on feminine desperation. They can detect it from a distance. They know when a woman has handed them the keys to her self-worth. And that weight, it drives them away. Because with that pressure, they no longer feel free to be themselves. They feel like any misstep will disappoint you, and that, ironically, kills the very spark you're trying to protect. The great thinkers said it best: whoever abandons what is done for what should be done procures his ruin rather than his preservation. Translated to seduction, it means this: the woman who abandons her true value just to win a particular man guarantees she'll lose him. Here's the final brutal irony. When you stop needing him to be happy, you become the exact kind of woman he needs to be happy. Not admirer number 10, not another echo in his inbox, but a once-in-a-lifetime experience he can't replace. With a single swipe, he will always choose the woman he could lose. It's not a mystery. It's a psychological law, as consistent as gravity. And no, it's not because men are cruel or confusing. It's because every human being, man or woman, values what is scarce and undeniably real. Men want to feel chosen, not trapped. When they sense that you're with them by desire, not out of emotional need, they breathe easier, they relax, they open, they show their best selves. But when they feel they are your oxygen, that you need them to feel complete, they shut down, they pull back. And there it is, the strategy the greatest minds in persuasion would weaponize to win hearts in the modern world. While the other 9 compete, you calmly conquer. While they beg to be seen, you choose with quiet power. While they chase in circles, you become the one who can't be ignored. Because the real difference between being another option and being the only option that matters is simple. It's about understanding that true power doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from being real. It's not about needing less. It's about valuing yourself more. It's never about playing games. It's about living by immovable principles. But let's not pretend this is easy. This isn't a technique you apply. This is character work. This is deep, internal development. It's building a life that's so rich, so full of purpose and passion, that no single man could ever become the center of your emotional universe. You pursue passions. You cultivate friendships. You follow your purpose. You live. So when you bring someone into that world, it's not from emptiness. It's from overflow. When you live this way, scarcity and self-respect are no longer performances. They're simply who you are. A whole woman doesn't look for someone to complete her. She looks for someone to complement the brilliance already there. That single mental shift, It's what separates women who enjoy deep, lasting love from those who ride the emotional roller coaster of anxious romance. Real transformation begins with a realization: you don't need to be the most beautiful. You don't need to be the youngest or the most agreeable. You only need to be the most true to yourself, the most rooted in your identity, the most anchored in your worth. And that woman, she has no competition because she's one of a kind. Here's the uncomfortable truth. 90% of women will hear this and change absolutely nothing. They'll keep competing, keep chasing, keep hoping that surface-level tactics will somehow heal a deep self-worth wound. But if you're in the rare 10% who takes this seriously, who truly begins to live from this place of authentic power, then you are on your way to something different. Because the next level of this strategy requires a woman who understands that real attraction doesn't begin with him. It begins with the relationship you have with yourself. Remember, he doesn't choose the best candidate on paper. He chooses the woman who chose herself first, the one who doesn't need his praise to feel worthy, the one who can walk away, and for that very reason, she's the one he prays will stay. This is the gap between superficial technique and real transformation, between short-term games and lasting magnetic power, between being part of the crowd and being truly irreplaceable. True power can't be faked. It's something you build quietly, daily, decision by decision. And once you have it, you no longer chase anyone. You simply live an extraordinary life, and extraordinary people will orbit around you, becoming love itself. At the end of the day, the most potent strategy isn't something you do. It's who you become. It's becoming the kind of woman you yourself would look up to. When you become her, attraction stops being a game to win. It becomes a byproduct of your presence. In the end, there are only two types of women in this world: those who beg to be chosen, and those who choose themselves. History remembers the latter. Philosophy honors them. Psychology studies them. And men never forget them. The ancient Greeks had a word for this state of being: ataraxia, the serene, unshakable peace of knowing your worth. Oh, when you live from that place, you don't just win the game of attraction. You rise above it. You transcend it. You become the rare woman who doesn't play for love because she is love. Whole, untouchable, complete. And here, the paradox reveals its quiet brilliance. The moment you stop needing to be chosen, you become the only choice that truly matters. 9 women will keep running, still hoping to be picked, but one woman will pause. Look in the mirror and remember exactly who she is. Not a woman begging for affection, but a queen deciding where her attention belongs. She'll move through this world with a quiet, unshakable force, the kind born from truth, because the only heart worth giving yourself to is the one that can never be conquered. Now ask yourself, which woman will you be? The answer doesn't just shape your relationships, it shapes your legacy. If this stirred something real in you, share it below. I'd love to hear what it awakened. And if you're walking this path too, subscribe and stay close. This space is for women who remember who they are.